support, and we can make good funds to support university education and provisions for these children. Awareness needs to reach everyone, even in our little circles, even in the most rural areas, teaching people the ways of prevention and how HIV is being contacted. A good support system helped my mom and I. The doctor helped my mom in the labor room and also enlightened her and her family. The UNAIDS Geneva staff that sponsored me all through school, and the family friends and close friends of my mom that supported her physically and emotionally. These people are needed in the society, people living with HIV and AIDS. I have been fortunate and privileged, and I want the same opportunities for people who live with HIV and AIDS and the children of people who live with HIV and AIDS. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, honorable gentlemen on the table, may I stand on the existing protocol? I wish to thank the organizers of this meeting for inviting me here, and I think it's a great privilege to have the opportunity to reflect on the few years that have passed by while we were battling with HIV and AIDS. Indeed, I will agree that we have a new dawn, because things have really changed. Things have really changed. I remember back in 2000, when I relocated from Lagos to Abuja to come and coordinate the network of people living with HIV/AIDS. I came and took over from Johnny Bekwe. Then stigma was very, very rife, and HIV was regarded and believed to be a very, very deadly disease. It was very difficult for a person living with HIV/AIDS to come out and say, I am positive. But we needed to give a face to HIV infection. Hence the establishment of the network of people living with HIV/AIDS, and we were given the mandate to mobilize people living with HIV/AIDS all over the country, get them to come out to disclose their status and live positively. We believed that it was through the positive living of people living with HIV/AIDS that the epidemic could be controlled, because the virus is completely located within them. If they stop the spread from themselves, others will be saved infections with HIV. Therefore, the NEP1 went out very boldly, and we mobilized a lot of our compatriots around the country. Now, today, stigma care support has increased tremendously. But I remember back in 2000, 2001, 2002, in fact, the government program started around 2002. We had the largest program in Africa, but for those of us who are living with HIV within the country, we thought it was very little. 10,000 persons placed on treatment out of so many. So it was a welcome development when President Bush introduced the PEPFAR. Shortly after that, the Global Fund came along. And I can remember then, there was a massive drift of clients from the national program to the PEPFAR program. And there was a joke then, people were saying, no, they should stay on the program which they have. And there was that joke that if you go visiting and your host offers you pounded yam and pounded yam with soup, which one will you choose? Now, it is true, the government has offered us pounded yam, but PEPFAR has come with pounded yam with soup. It was a comprehensive program, and I think we should be very, very grateful to PEPFAR and Global Fund. where we are today, I think we need new strategies, and I'm happy that NACA and NEP1, they are already rethinking the processes by which they are engaging with the patient community and with the country at large. There are many PLWs, people living with HIV/AIDS, who don't understand that NACA's mandate goes beyond people living with HIV/AIDS. NACA covers the whole country. They are supposed to take care of those who are with the virus and ensure that the larger population do not contract the virus. Many PLHIV don't think that way, so they think that NACA is not looking at them enough. But I'm happy the way they have gone about the business. They have caused the government to take more interest, and the investment from Nigeria has increased tremendously. Looking back, there are many people that we need to remember, and they often come to my mind. When I remember people like Johnny Bekwe, I can't but remember people like Professor A.B.C. Nwosu, wonderful people. Yes. I can remember people like Professor Shotman. He was wonderful when he was in NACA. Professor Akinshete. They have been wonderful people. And even within the patient community, there are many who have come and gone. And today we think about them with respect because they gave their best while they were here. So I would like to appreciate all who have contributed to make life easier for people living with HIV/AIDS, including the past and present staff of Network of People Living with HIV/AIDS. Thank you very much to all our partners.
So a lot have been done in the HIV response, but we've not really documented that. So I'm so happy for the new Dawn publication that will be documenting all this process, to talk about the successful stories, to talk about the trials, to talk about the commitments. Thank you so much. You know, before in the past, as a young person, if you not proudly say I'm HIV positive because of the stigma coming from people. But these days, you see a lot of young people telling you, I'm living with HIV and so what, and I'm healthy. So a lot have been done when it comes to treatment and prevention. So I want to say thank you to everyone living with HIV, and those that are not living with HIV but supporting us in this battle. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to implementers. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure I'm a midwife, maybe a mid-husband. I don't know if there's a similar term. If I can be permitted to stand or sit on existing protocol as it is. I'm really very honored to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. When I got the invitation from Erasmus, I thought this is the least I can do really to honor somebody who has worked so hard for us, so hard for the country. Thank you, Erasmus. So I happened to have a look at the book a few days ago before I traveled, and Erasmus gave me a draft copy 2 days ago. And what really hit me most was the chapter that dealt with the fallen heroes. Because we do have people that are currently not here with us that would have been here if they were given the opportunity of antiretrovirals. But they are not. More than 30 million people have died worldwide. At least 1 million Nigerians, if not more, have died from HIV. So I think it's really important we continue to remind ourselves of the people that we are actually working for. These are people living with HIV. And this is a business of saving lives more than anything else. When I came to NACA, it was quite a challenging period. As Erasmus said, there were issues with the data. Personally, I didn't really believe the data at all. We worked with our partners. Again, I would like to thank the US government, Global Fund, PEPFAR. Mahesh was somebody who really pushed for this. Mahesh was meeting me virtually every Friday morning just to go through the NICE progress to make sure that things were progressing well. But there was also a gentleman called Erasmus who was behind the scene, who kept on pushing and pushing. Whenever I see a phone call from Erasmus, I just know what it's going to be about. But it was for the good of the country. And there are certain aspects, certain things, certain decisions that we took that are not in the book, but actually came from discussions with Erasmus. Because as a leader, if you do not want to fail, reach out to people, listen to people, and find out who can give you the best advice. Because nobody can say that they are, in terms of knowledge, that they know everything. And again, this is one of the lessons I would really like people to pull out of this book, that as a leader, you cannot lead alone. It has to be collaborative. We obviously made mistakes, but we also made some really good decisions, and those decisions are now coming to fruition as we sit here. I'm extremely pleased that we continue to make progress with the HIV response and continue to build on what others have done so far. When I came to NACA, already a lot of work had been done, but what we did was to build on what we already had, to reach out to everybody, whether they are partners, whether they are people living with HIV, whether they are international donors, etc., and make sure that we provide the best for those living with HIV. It's certainly a new dawn, and I really hope over the next 35 years, we'll continue to address the big elephant in the room, and that's really the issue of sustainability and domestic resourcing. Her Excellency is here with us. I will always say thank you. Thank you for saving the lives of so many Nigerians, Global Fund. But we know you're not going to be here with us forever. We love you, but we cannot keep you here. So as the government of Nigeria continues to look at additional resourcing for health, we talk about the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, the new Health Insurance Act that's just been passed by Mr. President. Do not forget about HIV. Honorable Minister, the opportunity we have to make sure that we sort out the HIV problem once and for all. We are already almost there, in a way, but we need to maintain it. And how can we maintain it? We can only maintain it by resourcing and making sure those funds continue to be available for decades to come, because HIV will continue to be with us for decades to come. Finally, I would like to really say this is not just honoring those that have contributed to the response, but it's primarily an opportunity for me to thank people that I have worked with, that I didn't have that opportunity when I was leaving NACA, NEP1, my staff in NACA, the partners, the US government, Global Fund, but especially Erasmus for being with us all this while. Thank you, and we really wish you the best as you move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kennedy, for reminding us that there is power in collaboration. With that, I would like to invite Dr. John Joku for his discussion.
Your Excellencies, Your Excellencies, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I think I'll first start by saying that I'm one of the very few fortunate people who saw a bit of the era that was dark, and then some good bit of the path that it's now we're seeing as a new dawn. I got into fighting HIV/AIDS in 1995, so you all know what I'm talking about. And I remember with very deep sense of nostalgia the kind of patients we're seeing, being a treatment physician for HIV. At that point, it was like a death sentence. But things changed. And things changed, I think, about, the early 2000s. And I really must commend all those who brought about the change. The various stakeholders, the government of Nigeria, who first started a program, and then came, PEPFAR, the Global Fund, and even Gates Foundation, et cetera, et cetera. But I must also commend science, because it is science that told us the truth about where we were going. And this was a big problem for us. And it takes me to really reminding me about the first day I met with Dr. Mora. I'm sure he remembered. We went for a PEPFAR program in South Africa, Cape Town. And I kept telling him that, unfortunately, we have the correct data, but our partners, particularly the USG, will not buy it. And he told me, well, you need a bigger umbrella for people to buy into what you are saying. We came back, we started, but it didn't really work. So I was more than pleasantly surprised when the next time I was talking to Dr. Mora, he was no longer in South Africa, but in Nigeria. So, that changed a lot of things. Many things happened to turn the tide about 2012, 2014, because we were learning from science and we're really implementing. This was a new disease, So we continued, and he said, look, I'll try my best to see what we can do. And I think the rest is history. Because we know that even by 2015, when we were looking at our own data, we had already arrived at 1.4%, but no one actually bought it. So I really want, at 1.4% prevalence, I really want to thank Dr. Mora for what he has done. He has really proven that, science is truth, and it has also proven that all the monies that were being given to us, because the issue then was, we're giving Nigeria a lot of money, but we're not seeing the results. So you proved it. You helped us prove that there was return on investment. We thank you so much. And that science is what we're all now riding upon. We now know how ART is working so well for us, to the extent that we're moving now from tablets to injectables. We've seen how PMCT has dropped, and we've seen how even the social science component of it has come in the form of combination prevention. And we're using it to sort of attack and reduce stigma, ensure that community education and all that. And all this, has come from what I say, the resilience and the doggedness in the fight by all the stakeholders. Our partners, civil society, I must commend NEP1. I know we had a lot of struggle with them, but I think that in the end, it's the end that justifies, the means, and I think we're there. And last point is that this book or this publication is going to be very helpful in many ways. It's not only going to tell us the history. We have seen that HIV has been a pathfinder. Pathfinder in the sense that the tools we have learned from HIV can be applied to almost any epidemic, as the current DG has said. This is not the last epidemic. We know that there's going to be a major emergency. I'm happy that we have a documentation that will help us as we move forward, with the health of our people and the health of people globally. To thank everyone, all the stakeholders that have, the contributors that have made this publication possible, all the stakeholders that have fought over these years to get us to where we are. And I also want to, reinforce what Dr. Aliyu said. We're not in the last mile. So how can we get to that last mile? And that last mile will also include the issue of domestic funding, which, has been a problem for almost a decade or more. And I'm happy that the Honorable Minister is here. So, Dr. Mora, I thank you and UNAIDS, and I thank Dr. Sani and Dr. Gambo, and all those who have contributed. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Professor Doko, for at least reminding everyone that there's a return on investment insurance. Okay, so I'm sorry that I have to take us down to a somber note, but we need to remind ourselves of our fallen heroes. And just before they put up the video presentation on that, I think it's just right just to say that when we talk about heroes, it's not just about